On September 7th, discover the secret behind the words.
You think you can just steal man's life?
Bradley Cooper, Jeremy Irons, Dennis Quaid, Olivia Wilde, and Zoe Saldana.
What really happened?
The words.
I like the movie. I like the movie a
good.
lot. I want to begin by asking you guys, because it's really three complex stories. There's sort of Dennis Quaid's story, which is in turn telling your character's story, and then your character's story, which is in turn telling Jeremy Irons' story.
Yeah.
So as writer-director, I wanted to ask you about sort of creating those three stories and balancing those different tones on set, and then for yourself as an actor, your initial response to the script and sort of working through those three different stories.
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Well, Lee and I, what we set out to do is kind of have three distinct kind of looks for them, and we kind of set that starting with our cinematographer, Antonio, kind of like what Calvace. We talked about we wanted it to look like and feel like. And, we didn't set out to we wrote the script, we didn't try to write this, like, intricate kind of, like, complicated thing. It just came together that way. It was very organically, so.
And then for yourself as an actor, sort of navigating through that and through your stuff, and then, your initial reaction when you read the script.
When I first read it, which was about 12 years ago, or saw it being read, I was just amazed at how complicated and intricate it was, and moving, and real, and oddly truthful, even though it was all about lying. But the fact that his wife encouraged him to keep lying, and his publisher, and the old man eventually telling him not to live with his choice rather than, let go of the guilt. But it didn't become a reality for me to actually play Rory until years later, when he and Lee decided to direct it and try to get it made. And then it was a question of, I really didn't know I could play him. I was very worried that I was going to fail him. And it wasn't a week until I had agreed to do it before I had come to terms with that I could do it truthfully. And then a week before shooting, I remember reading it and called him, and I thought, I have a hook into him.
What was your concern? Why did you think you couldn't?
I didn't really understand. You need like something that will anchor you so that you can tell the truth. Believe what you're saying. Right. Not tell the truth, but believe what you're saying. And what was it? I can't remember what the anchor was.
What you anchored with?
Yeah.
It was about...
that he wasn't a bad writer. His impatience.
His talent.
His impatience.
And the impatience,
yeah.
Robbie.
Well, because the character reminded me a little bit of your guy in Limitless, in the fact that they were willing to do anything for success and cut the corners.
But that's the thing.
Do that.
To me, he wasn't obsessed with success, Rory,
Okay.
at all. All he wanted to do was, in the eyes of his father and his wife and people, be seen as somebody who is talented.
For himself, I think too.
I
think he wanted to touch
and to himself, but through the eyes of other people.
Maybe, yeah.
Whereas Eddie, to me, was completely different. We have a guy who's been living with the idea that he's talentless for years, and he took that pill, not because of his ambition, because there was nothing better to do.
Right.
That's why he takes the pill. He's like, meh, fuck it, and pops the pill,
Yeah,
But
so there's definitely a different
Yeah,
course for this
totally,
guy.
yeah.
Well, and tell me about working with Jeremy Irons, because as an actor, that was just been a thrill for you to get, because you really are just on a set all day sitting in that one scene, the park scene. And that
it was just
amazing.
me and him sitting. It was incredible, and luckily he's a great actor, so I didn't have to do anything. That's what happens when you work with great actors. You can just be present, and if it's well written, it'll just take care of itself. And that's what happened with him. So because of that, I was just joyous for 2 days.
Yeah. Well, the cast is great. Was that really what was important to you? Like Bradley said, to cast great actors, and then there's really no work to do.
You dream about actors like this showing up.
That's the only way that he made his 25-day shoot. No question about it.
Lee and I had 25 days to shoot this movie. So
if Jeremy had showed up without, I keep interrupting you.
Or Dennis, or Olivia, or Zoe, or anybody. He had these huge monologues, Jeremy, and he was so just ready to go, and he was so game. He just came so ready, and with ideas. Every one of these actors made it a possibility, and you don't expect to get actors like this when you make a movie like this size. You just don't expect a cast like this.
Yeah, so you just got everyone you wanted, and were able to make it work in that.
A dream cast. I think if Lee and I would have had $100 million to make this movie, we would have gone after all the same actors, Awesome.
You have to choose between life and fiction. The two are very close, but they never actually touch.